So good morning all of you. So as continuation with the previous video, so this is a sum of year digit method. So previously we discussed about the classical depreciation methods, which are nothing but the straight line methods and the declining balance method. Straight line method, declining balance method. Sometimes these are again modified into the unit of production methods. So this sum of year digit method and the another is the advanced type modified isolated cost record system. So these are classical methods, straight line method and declining balance method. In last video we discussed about this straight line method and some numericals, simple numericals on the straight line balance method. And now we reach at this example as a sum of year digit method. So it is a short form, it is written as a sum of year digit method, SOID. So in this method the depreciation amount is reduced or decreases from the start of that life of that particular asset. So this amount of depreciation is decreases from the start of that life of that particular asset in this sum of year digit method. That formula we consider here like this. So instead of dividing this, in previous case, their differentiation, cost basis values minus LOG value is divided by that useful life of period N. So instead of this, some one factor is added here. N minus k minus 1 here. So that due to this that depreciation amount decreases from that start of that particular life of that particular asset, from start to the end of that life of that particular asset. So here that notations are saying K is the year for the depreciation is to calculate. Now N is the life of that particular asset, B is the initial cost, DK is the depreciation for that particular year. So here depreciation is reduces year by year. Depreciation reduces year by year as from the start to the end of that life of that particular asset. Now declining balance method. This is declining balance method. Now here in this declining balance method, annual depreciation considered as a fixed percentage of basic value. Annual depreciation is considered as a fixed percentage of basic value, and that basic value should be at the beginning of that particular year. So here that annual depreciation considered a fixed percentage of that basic value, which we considered for the beginning of the year. So for beginning of year, whatever that basic value, for that amount some percentage, fixed percentage is applied, and by applying some fixed percentage to the basic value, whatever that amount comes, that we consider as a annual depreciation in this declining balance method. So it is a annual depreciation as a fixed percentage of basic value, and that basic value considered as the beginning of that year. So now in this method there are two considerations. 200% of this declining balance method and 150% of the declining balance method. Some percentages are given, and in this case, in this declining balance method, that ratio of depreciation in any 1 year to the book value at the beginning of that year is remain constant throughout that life of that asset. If you consider the ratio of depreciation in any 1 year to the book value at the beginning of that particular year, during that useful life of period, it remain constant in this declining balance method. And here we can consider 200% declining balance method or 150% declining balance method. So here in 200% declining balance method, that R value is considered as a 2 by N. And in 150% declining balance method, that R value considered as a 1.5 by N. So we go through some examples and we can find out this easily interpreted what is written here. So that depreciation comes here as a B into R. So cost basis value into this R value, cost basis value into this R value. So for first year, for kth year, that formula is modified like this: B into 1 minus R raised to K minus 1 into R. For kth year, this formula modified like this: B into 1 minus R raised to K minus 1 into R. So after this, after simplification of this, it comes as a 1 minus R raised to K. 1 minus R raised to K. After simplification, we will get this like this. So book value at the kth year is becomes as a B into 1 minus R raised to K. B into 1 minus R raised to K. So this is book value. This is depreciation value at the end of year K. Depreciation value at the first year is equal to B into R. So this is nothing but so how much depreciation value we consider. So that depreciation value is some percentage of that particular book value. And how much percentage we consider? So sometimes 200% in decline based method consider, 150% decline based method consider. So in 200% decline based method, that percentage is considered as a 2 by n. In 150% decline based method, that percentage R is considered as a 1.5 by n. So as we go further and through this example, we can easily understand these terms. So these declining balance terms, these some are the examples of based on this declining balance method term. Salvage value of that particular machine is 0 at the end of the 10th year. So we are consider that salvage value of that particular machine is 0 at the end of the 10th year period. Use the decline balance method to calculate the annual depreciation amount when by two consideration. In declining balance method, considering 200%, declining balance method consider as a 150%. So 2 divided by n, 1.5 divided by n, and using straight line method. So here we have to find out the depreciation value for the declining balance method by considering 200%, declining balance method by considering 150%, and by using straight line method we find out the depreciation amount. We have to find out the depreciation amount. So when B is equal to, when this B cost basis value B is equal to 40 lakh, N is useful life is 10 years, salvage value 0. So annual depreciation amount when 200% declining base method, so R is equal to 2 by N. So depreciation in that case is equal to B into R. So B is a 40 lakh into R is nothing but 2 divided by N. N is a 10. So this comes as a 8 lakh. This comes as 8 lakh. When it is a, that R considered as 1.5 by N or 150% of decline base method. So in that case, B into R now becomes as B is a 40 lakh into 1.5 divided by N is a 10. So it becomes as a 6 lakh. And by straight line method, it is a basic cost basis value minus salvage value divided by N. So salvage value is a 0. Cost basis value is a 40 lakh divided by the useful life of period 10. So it becomes as a 4 lakh. So if you look at this, these values, So these values are reduced. So initially that value is more. Initially this value is more in declining base method, and as that end of life of that particular machine, as that depreciation amount comes to the end of life of that particular machine, that value reduces. That we are again discussing in the next example. So in declining base method, this depreciation amount is reduces at the end of that life of that particular machine. So in straight line method it is constant. In straight line method it is remain constant and toward the each year, in the each year. So this is an example based on the declining base method. It is example based on declining base method. Another example here given as a based on the declining base method, an equipment was purchased for rupees 50,000 after straight line method was used to calculate depreciation for total life of 20 years. The equipment expected salvage value, because the expected salvage value is rupees 5,000. What would be the difference between the equipment book value? Difference between equipment book value after 15th year and the book value that would have resulted if the declining base method at the rate of 10% applied for the 15th year had been used. So after 15th year, they asked after 15th year, they asked to find out the difference between the straight line method and between the decline base method. What are the depreciation value we obtained from the straight line method and what are the depreciation value obtained by decline base method? That difference is how much? They ask for the difference. So here again that cost basis value considered as a 50,000. Cost basis value is considered as a 50,000. Cost basis value here is considered as 50,000. Salvage value considered as a 5,000. And total useful year of life is a 20 years. Now then depreciation now considered as a cost basis value minus salvage value divided by n. This is for the straight line method. So this amount comes as a 2,250 per year. Now for the straight line method at 15th year, how much is that value? So it is a B minus. So what will be difference? They asked what will be difference between the equipment book value. So equipment book value, they asked for the equipment book value for that straight line base method and for the declining base method. So book value is nothing but a cost basis value minus salary minus the depreciation value. Cost basis value minus depreciation value for that particular period of time. So for 15th year, book cost basis value minus depreciation amount for the 15th year of time. For 15th year of time, which is nothing but a book value for the 15th year by straight line method. So cost basis value minus this depreciation value. This depreciation value for 15th year for 15 years. So cost basis value 50,000 minus this 2,250, which is the depreciation value for each year, into 15. So it is this value, depreciation value for the 15 years. First year, second year, third year, up to the 15th year. So this is cumulative amount. For 15 years. So 50,000 minus this 33,750. So whatever this amount remaining is 16,250. So if you calculate from declining base method, this amount now becomes B into 1 minus R raised to K. B into 1 minus R raised to K. Now here this is noted. This is the book value at the year of K is equal to B into 1 minus R raised to K. This R is the percentage. R is the percentage. Now here that percentage is given. So instead of 200%, 150%, so here that percentage is given as a some value. Here this percentage is given as a value. So this percentage is given as a 10%. This percentage is given as a 10%. So in previous example we consider as a 150%, 200% like that. Here that percentage is given as a 10%. So that book value here considered as B into 1 minus R is to K. Cost basis value B into 1 minus R is to K. So cost basis value is 50,000 into 1 minus R. R is the percentage, 0.1 raised to K is the year, 15th year. So that much is the value, 10,294. 10,294. So that much of the amount of the book value at the 15th year by the declining base method. So difference between book value obtained by straight line method, book value obtained by declining base method at the 15th year, which is nothing but a 16,250 minus 10,294, which is nothing but a 5,955 rupees. So this is asking quantity. Now if you observe this example, these are the simple examples. So in this example, this is the R is the percentage. This R is the percentage. We can consider as a 200%, 150%, or sometimes it is given in examples. Here it is given in the example as a 10%. We are consider as a 10%. And we can simplify these examples like this. So if you look at this, as years are passing out, that depreciation values are reduces. The depreciation values are reduces in this declining base method. But in straight line method, this value remain constant. For this value, depreciation value remain constant. So these examples are based on declining base method. Now if we move further, this declining base method is now switched over to straight line method. This declining base method switched over to straight line method. So because this declining base method never reaches a base value of 0. Declining base method never reaches the base value of 0. So it is permissible to switch from this method to the straight line method, so that assets book value will be 0. And this method is used to calculating the modified accelerated cost recovery system. This method is also used in modified accelerated cost recovery system. So in this example, in this fourth example, we will go through this. So this depreciation. And sometime unit of production methods are also used. So that unit of production method, that depreciation methods are based on elapsed time. So in previous cases, the depreciation methods are based on elapsed time. But sometime that depreciation considered in terms of the unit of production, and that is called as the depreciation under the unit of production method. Depreciation, consideration of unit of production. So suppose that productions, these are the number of productions. Suppose 1000 products are produced. How much is the depreciation for that particular machine? So instead of N, so in previous case that N is nothing but the number of years or number of period. It is a period or useful period. So here N now is replaced in this units of production method. It is replaced by unit of production. So depreciation is the same formula we used. Cost basis values minus sales value divided by, instead of useful years, here that units of production. N is replaced by units of production. So this is the unit of production method, and sometimes this declining base method is switched toward the straight line method, so that book value should be 0 for the quarterly asset. So some examples, we go through some examples on this based on this.